What up, everyone? It's your voice, Temangali, the Reverend of the Revolution. Welcome you to another edition of Your Daily Revolution, helping you to wake up, turn your brain on, and to prosper every single day in every part of your life. Today's topic, embrace the suck. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. As I'm looking at pictures here of Seal Fit 20X that took place on March 20th, 2016. All the pictures came through and I can barely walk. My legs are killing me still. 48 hours later, you can tell that I was not in the best of shape. Although I thought I was in the best of shape, right? You think you're in great shape. You think you've trained, and then you get into the situation where the circumstances and the conditions are not ideal. You're running in and out of water. Combat boots, you're muddy. You got mud all up in your ears and your nose and your pockets. You're crawling out of the water on the gravel and sand, cutting your forearms up. You're exhausted. Your shoulders are burning. You're growing your hamstrings, your quads, your hips. I remember running up the hill thinking, how and why am I here again? Reminding myself. And then there's a phrase that goes around that says, embrace the suck. Right? And it means a lot of different things to different people, but I'm going to tell you what it means to me to embrace the suck. See, on Facebook, on Snapchat, Twitter, any social media platform, everyone posts really cute quotes. Embrace the suck. If you want to be a beast, it's time to do what beasts do. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what the beasts do. And it's like a picture of a lion with blood on its mouth. And there's all kinds of quote with every type of actor. Some of my favorites are Leonardo DiCaprio and Harvey Specter. I don't even know Harvey's real name. He's from Suits. Or Will Smith, right? I will die before and here's what I've learned. You can talk about embracing the suck. You can post quotes about it. You can watch movies about it. But until you get put in the suck, and I'm gonna tell you what, like CrossFit in the gym is not the suck. Working out at 24-hour fitness is not the suck. Yeah, CrossFit's difficult. I get it. It's like football is difficult, and I've been there, right? I played collegiately, professionally. The suck is whatever it is that challenges you way beyond your tolerance and threshold of pain. So for CrossFit athletes, what's happening is really simple. If you're already in great shape, well, then it's like, the conditions are ideal. If you're a football player, well, you already know what the game is. But imagine being put in a situation where conditions were not ideal and you had no idea what was coming. And it was way outside of your threshold of pain, your capacity. This was me at 20X. Within the first hour to 2 hours, tapped out thinking, oh my goodness. And then I realized, right, number one lesson, there's no finish lines. If you're going to create some real results in your life, find real fulfillment and meaning, and live a life that you truly love as a father, as a son, as a spouse, a wife, a husband, an employee, a business, or whatever roles that you play in your life. If you're going to create that type of life, you must get used to embracing the suck. What does that mean? That there's no finish line. This was a 12-hour crucible. For 12 hours. Now, there were 2 breaks. I think we had 2 20-minute breaks to eat an MRE. I don't know the definition of MRE. I just know there's these packaged up foods that the military armed forces eat. And for me, it was delicious. Holy smokes. Au gratin potatoes and like chicken noodle pasta soups and all kinds of stuff. So, number one, there's no finish line in this thing. If you keep looking for some type of finish line, well, when I get here, then I've arrived, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer regardless. You're going to go through some challenges and tribulations and afflictions regardless. So the real question for you is, can you embrace the suck and just not look for a finish line? There's no finish line on this thing. There was no finish line in 20X. Second thing, you'll never know till you do it. Now, for some of you, 20X may be way beyond your grasp. There's members of my church. I direct the choir for my ward. It's called a ward. Of my church, my congregation. And I was missing for choir practice because we're singing on Easter Sunday. And so my wife told them about it. Then we had a choir practice Monday night, and they were asking me all about it. They're like, Tell us about it. And like the look on their faces was like, what in the world are you thinking? So for them, right, 20X is going to be way out of capacity. But, maybe a 5K run, maybe a sprint triathlon, maybe a 5 or 10 mile hike. Like you've got to be willing to push the threshold and tolerance of pain to expand capacity. You've got to be willing to embrace the suck. So let's take a look at this inside of your physicality. Right? Do you do enough? Are you the person that only does one push-up a day? Are you the person that only does walks to the refrigerator back and says, that's good enough? That's not embracing the suck, but you got to start where you are. So if you're only used to doing one push-up a day, well, then you got to do 5 push-ups a day. I know it kind of sounds silly, but I'm sure there's some of you out there that live like that. If you're the guy that's used to doing Ironmans, right? One of my boys, Jim Stagg, custom home builder, he's an Ironman. And he's pushing the threshold. He's 50. He's done bull riding, professional bull riding. This guy's crazy. And yet he's one of my brothers. And he's pushing the capacity. He's embracing. Because if you want mental toughness, you must be willing to put your body through the suck, through the things that challenge you. My boys, 9, 6, and 3 right now. I love them, right? Basketball, running, I can see how difficult it is. And yet, as a parent, I want to protect them, yet I continue to allow them to grow and I ask them questions and I just tell them, hey, we're going to get knocked down and what do we do? And they're like, we get back up. In your marriage, how would you embrace the suck? By confronting what you're not confronting, by confronting what you're avoiding. If the sex isn't that great, confront it. If you want more intimacy or you want more spirituality, then confront it. If your spouse isn't giving you what you want, then confront it. And confront doesn't mean argue. It just simply means, hey, let's address this and move forward. Inside of your spirituality, if you've been trained, taught, and educated one way of your whole life and you've just accepted it, and you're at a point where you need to really find out for yourself if it's true, well then step back and say, what can I do so that I could grow more in the capacity to have spiritual power, spiritual guidance, connection to God? What could you do? What would that look like? And how might that affect you? The most of the men that I read about in Christian scripture, they went through all kinds of affliction and tribulation. Joseph of Egypt, Daniel in the lion's den, Moses, and stories beyond stories, Abraham, who was called to sacrifice his son. I'm telling you right now, if you want a level of power, where can you put yourself in a situation to expand and grow and become mentally stronger? And of course, in business, are you willing to level up from where you are? The first part's always going to be a leveling up of mindset. How do you see yourself? How do you see the world? Do you see yourself as worthy, as enough? And I get it, right? High-level coaches. I only work with high-level people. I get that because I work with high-level people and I work with elite people who pay significant amounts of money. And yet it doesn't matter. Everyone starts where they start. Whether they're going to pay $19 for their first book and they're like, wow, I just spent $19 on this book. Or they spend $19,000 on a mastermind. It's irrelevant. The amount is irrelevant. What's relevant is that you're putting yourself in situations to invest in you. Do you see the world clearly? Do you understand that wasting 45 minutes to 60 minutes checking Facebook statuses and Snapchat videos is it's not going to be workable for you. It doesn't get you to where you want to go unless you're running ads and doing all kinds. But most of you guys, most people are simply addicted. So it's not going to help your business. So the first leveling up for business is always the mindset. And then the skill set follows. Skill set's typically going to be some type of sales, professional development, understanding business vernacular, and the business acumen. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you right now, learn to embrace the suck. Learn to embrace the pain. After Sunday's event where we spent 12 hours in and out of lakes and doing Murph and running up and down hills, and Coach Tree, one of the black coaches, this guy was a monster. And he was all over me. You did not prepare, golly. I could tell you didn't prepare, golly. All those biceps and shoulder muscles. You can't even do anything out here. That's a damn shame, golly. He was all over me, and yet I loved it because I like people to expose me, to help me to see, look, I could probably shed about 30, 40 pounds of excess weight that I got on my body. Sure, I look big, but Tree was giving it to me, and I loved it. And I loved the pain, and I loved the insight, and I loved the pain that I feel right now from it. On Sunday night, I said, dude, I'm never doing this again. There's no way I could do Kokoro. And yet, just 48 hours later, I'm like, dude, I got to do it again. I want more. I want more. I can't wait. I can't wait. So are you willing to invite and embrace the pain, or as they call it in Seal Fit, embrace the suck? I love it. I got a big grin on my face while I'm shooting this podcast, and I'm rocking and rolling. So, as always, I'm going to remind you, if you want to create a life of real radical results, a life that you love, it's going to require you to get into a relentless pursuit with a ruthless commitment. What are you committed to? What are you relentlessly pursuing right now? To get to the top of your mountains and pay the piper every single day so you can get to the top of that mountain to get your possibilities, prize, and promises that are waiting for you. Embrace the suck. Hoo-yah! For more info on joining the revolution and living your greatest life of prosperity today, go to www.yourdailyrevolution.com and join us in waking up, turning your brain on, and prospering today.